Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is your church, the Dunamis Seventh-day Adventist Church. We're happy for your company today. Welcome to this space where we put the min in the minute, as my elder Pastor Harris would say. We motivate, we inspire, and we nurture. So we thank you for your company today. I know persons are watching from all over the world, from Canada or part of the US, parts of the Caribbean, even as far as England, persons are watching, and we welcome you to our space where we not only preach gospel, but we ensure that persons benefit from social things and we can have wholesome life here on earth, because Christ is a holistic God. So welcome you. I'm asking you to share this link. Just grab the link, be a digital disciple, an Android apostle, send this link all over so that those persons you know in particular who would benefit from such information that we shared today, they can benefit. All right. So thank you for joining us again. It is my esteemed delight and pleasure to introduce to some and present to others two beautiful, wonderful ladies. I want to start firstly with Michelle Schimel.
Wow. Nobody gets it. Good for you. That's great.
She, the director, if Pastor Harris could spotlight her as well, she's the director of community outreach for the state of New York Mortgage Authority, whose mortgage program is to help people to achieve their dream of owning their own home, condominium, and of course, corp, with their affordable and innovative home and lending tools for low to moderate income home buyers. So we're happy to have you today, and I'm sure it will be an exciting sitting. Next, we have Darnell. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did, Darrell.
Darrell, okay. Forde, of course, she is the VP for the said institution, VP of single family programs and financing, and she has spearheaded and is spearheading a number of new initiatives at this organization. And of course, one of those initiatives is Give Us Credit, that you will hear about today. And of course, she has a passion and a desire to help historically underserved communities to surmount the barriers of home ownership. And so we are delighted to have these two beautiful persons today. Please feel comfortable. This is your space. This is your family. We induct you into the family at Dunamis. And we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Share with us here from your heart and from the information. Welcome.
Okay, I'm going to kick it off first. Thank you so much, Pastor Francis. I have to tell you, I am delighted. My heart is full. I am so excited I could cry. I'm very happy, first of all, that I'm here, because I'm here on the internet and that works, but also I could, the energy that's coming through you, and I know we spoke before, it's there. And I want to welcome my colleague and wonderful partner, and that's Darrell, who I know is going to join us as well in the conversation and speak to you. We have a lot of information to offer you today, so don't be nervous. You know, I put in the chat already my contact information, my email. It's michelle.schimel@hcrny.gov. It didn't come out so straight. But don't be afraid. If you don't get all the information, you can contact me. It'll take a few days. We're going to go through the website as well. And if you have any questions, the one thing about Sunny May, the government agency that I work for, we're very nimble and we really do care and we want to help you. So you're going to get a human being when you call. So, and when you contact us, so we will help you. It's not all going to be answered today. I also put in the chat our website, which is sunnymay.ny.gov. And that and we're going to go through that as well, because I'm not a genius. Everything I'm going to say today is on our website, but we're going to get started. And again, thank you so much for inviting us. When I saw the flyer, I told Darrell we have to raise our game. There are a lot of interesting programs that you are doing over the next few weeks on social empowerment, and we're honored, truly honored to be here. And with that, I'm going to share my screen. Unless you have something, Darrell, would you like to add something?
The only thing I would like to add is to say thank you both to the pastor and the church for welcoming us and receiving the information that we share with you. As Michelle said and the pastor said, I am passionate, and I know Michelle is passionate about sharing this incredibly useful information so that communities and all folks in those communities have the opportunities to achieve homeownership and to advance both their families and those around them through that. And just thank you. That's the only thing I want to share. And I will reiterate what Michelle said. Please don't hesitate to ask questions either today or later. We welcome them because that is, the journey to home ownership, right? Maybe for some it's longer than others, but it begins with receiving this information. So thank you.
Right. And to echo that, congratulations to you for being here, because that's the first step, asking the questions. You are on the road. And as Darrell says, some people are ready to purchase tomorrow. They're ready to go to that loan officer. Others, we're talking a year or two. I've been in the agency 4 years, and I have people that took the class with me 4 years ago and are now calling me and saying, I'm painting my living room now. So it's like a bell curve. Everyone is different. I was late to home ownership. I'm going to be 65. I was in my late 40s. It was not part of my culture to own a home. My grandparents didn't own a home. My parents didn't own a home. And as a result, I didn't own a home. And then I wanted to own a home. The problem is I didn't know about Sunny Mae, and I would have qualified. And Sunny Mae would have saved me a hell of a lot of money and a lot of trouble. So that's why I'm here to tell you about a program that's really wonderful for first-time homeowners. So let's get started. Enough talk. Let's get going. Okay. So can you see my screen? Darrell, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Okay, so let's get started. Who are we? We're the State of New York Mortgage Agency. We are a division of Homes and Community Renewal. That's a state agency. Darrell and I are state employees, so we're not getting a commission here. Our goal is strictly to inform you about a wonderful program for first-time home buyers. The mission of HCR is affordable housing. It is to build, protect, and preserve affordable housing, and in addition, increase home ownership in New York State. And that is the goal of Sunny Mae. One mission, increase home ownership in New York State. So we've been around, this is not a new program. People say, oh, well, is this new? How come I haven't heard of it? 50 years we have been making home ownership a reality for low to moderate income first-time home buyers from Buffalo to Brooklyn. So if you have relatives that live anywhere around New York State as well, tell them about Sunny Mae. Okay, so what is Sunny Mae? We offer two types of mortgage programs. We don't service the mortgage. You will be going to loan officers. It is underwritten by the state, but it has special benefits and features that we're going to be discussing. There are two primary mortgages. It's Achieving the Dream for lower income first-time home buyers and low interest mortgage rate. That's if you make slightly more money. That would be if you don't qualify for Achieving the Dream, you can go for a low interest rate mortgage, but you will get with either mortgage the same great benefits. Okay, so what do we offer? Competitive rates. Right now, interest rates are still very low. When I bought my home, my first home I bought a little over almost 20 years ago, interest rates were up at 9%. Now they are significantly less than half that. So it's a good time to consider home ownership, and we are very competitive in our rates. It's 30-year fixed rate. Why is that beneficial? That means it's over a long period of time of 30 years and it's fixed rate. There are no surprises. In other words, our goal is not just getting you in the home to purchase the home, but to make it sustainable, that you can stay in the home, that there's no balloon mortgage, 3 years down, the rates go up. You will know every month what you have to pay. There are no points. So what you see is what you get. And this is the real breaker for me. Down payment requirements as low as 3%. As I was mentioning, when I bought my home and I would have qualified for Sunny Mae, I had to put down 10%. And I didn't have that 10%. I had to beg and borrow from my family members. With that, I would have been much easier with Sunny Mae. There is also down payment assistance available. We have a down payment assistance loan that I'm going to talk about in the next few slides, which will help you make that 3% down payment. It can be a beauty of this also. It can be combined with other government, nonprofit, or employee home buyer grants and subsidies. And we're going to talk about that because most of you are going to want to go to a home buyer education. And the beauty of that is, besides the information that they give you, they know where you can secure other loans and grants to help you purchase that home. So we are big proponents of home buyer education, which I'm also going to talk to. You're going to hear a lot of redundancy. I'm going to repeat things, but that's good. We do not underwrite to a FICO score. You hear about credit scores. Oh, I only have 580 or 620. It doesn't matter with Sunny Mae mortgages. The two mortgages, there is no credit score requirement for our mortgages. But as with most mortgages, if you put down less than 20%, you do have to pay PMI, which is, I'm going to throw a lot of acronyms at you, personal mortgage insurance. And what that does is, because you're only putting down, let's say 3%, the bank wants to have assurance that if, God forbid, you walk away or can't pay it, that they get some compensation back. So that's what personal mortgage insurance is if you put down less than 20%. Okay, so some features. We said for a single family home, and let me just say it's available for, Sunny Mae is available for 1 to 4 unit homes. So that means you can buy a single family home, you can buy a 2-family home and be a landlord. You do have to have residents in the home. No matter what you buy, you have to live in the home. One of the units has to be occupied by yourself. It's a single family, or if you buy a 2-family, it must be your personal home as well. But you could buy up to 4-unit home and essentially be a landlord and use that money towards your own payments for your mortgage and your income. It also works, Sunny Mae, for cooperatives and condominiums. Now, I talked about the what you have to have. There's a down payment. So if you're buying a 1 or 2-family home, you only have to put down 3%. But of that 3%, your cash contribution, meaning your own contribution from your own financial assets, only has to be 1%. So that means that other 2% can come from, as I mentioned, the down payment assistance that we offer. It has a long rate lock. And what a rate lock means is that once you lock in an interest rate, for example, right now, Sunny Mae, I believe, I have it written down here, but I actually have it on the next slide. I believe it's 3.75. That will be your lock until you close for 120 days. So that's good. You're not going to see any fluctuations. You're locking in your interest rate. And as I mentioned, as I said, it's going to be a little redundant. It can be combined with grants and subsidies from other employees and nonprofits. And I know in the city has a program as well that you may very well be able to tap into, the Home First program, which New York City offers. We welcome any type of other grants and subsidies and loans that could be layered in to helping you pay for that home. Okay.
Michelle,
so we talk, yes. Darrell?
Michelle, before we
yes.
advance, before we advance, we have a question
yes.
in the chat.
Oh, sure.
Someone asked what happens when rates go down? This question came up after you touched upon fixed rate mortgages.
That's a great question. Darrell, I'm going to have you answer that.
Okay, and so fixed rate mortgages mean that the rate stays the same for 30 years, for the entire 30 years.
I thought before you close, does the question about before you close or after you close?
So we can answer both, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, Dora. Yes, because there's a different answer for either one. I can answer the other one. I can answer the one post-closing. Okay,
so I will ask, I will answer the question about what happens before you close, right?
Right.
So if you have locked in your loan, your interest rate, but your loan has not yet closed, your rate remains the same but you could buy it down. However, I would say that in this environment, rates have been for quite some time at a historic low. And given the environment that we are in today, it is very unlikely that rates will be going down before you close your loan. So really at this point in time, it is an advantage that your rate remains the same. I think that if folks are already in the market and they are looking, they will know that 6 months ago, rates were perhaps up to 1% lower. The minor variations that might occur really don't have that much impact, and really the safest thing for any prospective home buyer at this point in time is locking in that rate so that they know exactly what they're getting.
That's a great, first of all, it's a great question, and that was a great answer, because what we're seeing now, historically low interest rates are ticking up very slowly. I will say we have been rather steady. I watch them every day, and we have been, right, Darrell, rather steady in terms of that. Again, we try to keep it as low as possible because we want you to take advantage of that. So now is a good time. Don't be waiting for interest rates to go lower. As Darrell said, chances are they're going to be ticking up. I talked about being a first-time home buyer. Let's talk about the definition of a first-time home buyer, because I kind of, in order to qualify for this program, you do have to be a first-time home buyer. The definition is you have not owned a property or you have not been on a mortgage for 3 years or more. And what that means, I had a case where a woman was divorced. She was married, she lived in a home, she was divorced, she rented for a while, 3 years, had more than 3 years, it was 10 years for her, had lapsed. She's considered a first-time home buyer. So she can be eligible for Sunny May. I did have a woman yesterday who, interestingly enough, who is on a deed for her parents. She's on the deed for her parents and the mortgage. She doesn't live in the home, but she doesn't live in the home, so she thought she would be eligible for Sunny May. She's not. I had to sadly tell her that she was not. She was very disappointed. So you don't have to live in the home if you have a mortgage or you're on any deed. Even if you don't live in the home, you're still not considered from the IRS guidelines as being a first-time home buyer. But if there are any veterans or any spouses of veterans in the audience, you are exempt. That is waived. You do not have to be a first-time home buyer if you are in the military, a veteran, or a spouse of a veteran.
I just want to add one thing to what you just shared, Michelle.
Sure.
So for those of you who perhaps are on the mortgage with a parent or other family member, but it's not your primary residence and you don't live there, I do suggest that you go to a Sunny May loan officer before determining your eligibility. There are circumstances where you might be eligible. There are also circumstances where you might not be. The key for that eligibility is whether or not you have taken the mortgage interest tax credit, right? So some of that might make sense to some of you and it may not make sense to others, right? And so at that point, I suggest you either speak to a home counselor or a Sunny May experienced loan officer, right? So don't get discouraged, ask questions, get more information.
Right. And to that end, and thank you, Darrell, there will be questions that you're going to have that we're not going to necessarily address here. Everyone, it is as personal as a fingerprint. Everyone's home buying challenges and pluses. So reach out to us, okay? We have a lot of officers that could help you through that process. These are all great questions. What we do, we want to say also, you must have good credit and stable employment. And as I mentioned, the property must be your primary residence, no vacation homes, no second homes. And I get a lot of stories about that. So that we were pretty emphatic. I mentioned as before that you need either 1% or 3% of the purchase price, your own minimum contribution. Meaning we do require 3% down for a single family or two family. If it is a co-op, it is 3% of your own minimum contribution. Okay, home buyer education may be required. And when I say may be required, if you are getting DPAL, down payment assistance, or if you are putting down less than 5%, you will be required to take a home buyer education course, but that's not a problem. I urge everyone to go to home buyer education because our rate even during the 2008, 2009, our default rate was de minimis because people were educated by home buyer education and counseling. So it is a plus, and we definitely recommend that. Okay, so now we're going to get to rubber's going to start hitting the road. What is the income eligibility? Because again, you have to be income eligible, and it's done by county. I've kind of tailored this to New York City because the church is in New York City. But if you go to our website, sunnymay.ny.gov, you will see the income and purchase price varied by county. Like, for example, I'm coming to you via Long Island, so it's a little bit different on Long Island, but I've tailored this presentation towards the city. Okay, so again, for New York City, all 5 boroughs, to be eligible, meaning your income, would be how many people, I always ask how many people are going to be living in the house. Okay, so if it's a single mom with her child, that's 2 people. You have to make below $114,520. I had a woman yesterday. She's going to be with her spouse. She's got 2 kids and a mother-in-law. So that's more than 3. So for her income limit had to be below $133,610. Again, this is for achieving the dream. It's slightly higher, and I have that on the next slide of what that is. But let's talk about who counts in that income. The only people that will count on the income are the people that are going to be on the mortgage. And so, for example, the people on the mortgage, or even if a spouse. In other words, even if the spouse is not on the mortgage, that income will be included in those income limits. Okay, so I hope that's clear. If anyone has questions, we can ask. You can ask again. But this is just to be eligible for the program. Okay, that doesn't mean necessarily, that you're going to necessarily get the mortgage. We're going to get into that as well. This is to be eligible to apply even for the mortgage to see if you could qualify. Purchase price limits. This is how much we would finance for. A single family home is $719,950. 2 family, I'm not going to go through all the numbers. You could see it. This is all again on our website. For New York City, how much we will finance. So it would be, let's say, for a single family, 97% we will finance of the $719,950. Okay, so let's say you make more than that. God bless. You can still, if you do not qualify, you make too much money for achieving the dream, you can still get a Sunnymay mortgage with all its benefits. And I'm going to go into those added benefits in the next couple of slides by applying for a low interest rate mortgage. And you can see the income eligibility is a little bit higher. That same single mom with her son, she can make up to $143,160. And that family that's got the mother-in-law, they can make up to $167,020. The purchase price limits remain the same. Okay, let's get down to interest rates. I know everyone's going, what's the interest rate? Oh, I was right, I remembered. Okay, this was as of yesterday, and Darrell will speak to that too. They change during the week. You can't quote me on this. That's why it may change next week, but it hasn't. It really hasn't. They've been staying steady, right, Darrell? Shake here for the last couple of weeks. They've been staying pretty steady. But you can see they're low. They're a far cry from my 9.5% that I paid many, many years ago. So achieving the dream without down payment assistance is 3.75%. If you happen to choose, and a lot of people do because it's worth it, the down payment assistance, which I will explain in a minute, it's 3/8 of a point higher at 4.125%. And again, the low interest rate is slightly higher. That's again, if your income is a little bit higher. So we feel that you can pay a little bit more in interest. Without DPEL is 4.125%, and with the down payment assistance, 3/8 of a point higher at 4.5%. Okay, now we're going to get it. You qualified for your Sunnymay mortgage. So why else besides the 3% down? Besides all the benefits, here are some programs that we have: down payment assistance, Remodel New York, neighborhood revitalization, and the new program that Darrell has introduced is Give Us Credit. So down payment assistance. I find most people, they have an income, they're paying their bills on time. What gets in the way of them buying the home? It's that cash, that down payment, those closing costs. And that's why many people come to Sunny May, because like me, I did not have the money. It took me a long time to get that money for the down payment. Remember, I didn't have Sunny May, I had to put down 10%. So you come to us for down payment assistance, can be used for down payment, closing costs, as well as a single payment towards what I mentioned before, your PMI, your personal mortgage insurance. But the maximum loan amount is 3% of the purchase price up to $15,000. So if you're buying a home for $500,000, you can get up to $15,000 in down payment assistance, or the minimum, which is $3,000. It's zero interest rate. There are no monthly payments. And after 10 years, if you live in the house 10 years or more, when you sell the home, that loan is forgiven. It essentially becomes like a grant. Now, what happens, people, there's been some miscommunication out there. People say, well, you can't move before 10 years with Sunny May. That is not true. Of course you can move, whenever you want. But if you have down payment assistance, you would pay a prorated amount of what's left on the loan. You're paying 1/120th every month. So no doubt when you sell your home, you will never pay the full loan amount. You will pay a percentage, provided you don't make a profit on the home. There are cases where people will sell the house in a relatively short period of time. They've put money in the house. It is appraised at a certain amount. If in fact you have not made a profit, that loan also will be forgiven. But that's something, I'm getting ahead of myself. But for the most part, if you live in the house 10 years or more, the loan is forgiven, which is incredible. Okay, the down payment assistance, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, can't exceed your down payment, duh. As I mentioned, the interest rates for the mortgages with DPAL is about 3/8 of a point higher. And all of this I've already gone over. Okay, so the next program that we have that you would be eligible for and consider once you get your Sunny May mortgage, another added benefit besides down payment assistance, is Remodel New York. Boy, I wish I had this, because a lot of times you're buying homes in the city on Long Island, they need some work. The housing stock is old. You need new floors. You need, I had a garage that wasn't standing. I couldn't even get the mortgage because it was as is. So but because I didn't have Sunny May and didn't have Remodel New York, I had to use a credit card to pay for it at a rate of 21%. What you can do with this is finance the rehabilitation and renovations through the cost of your mortgage. So that 3.75% can be also part of the refurbishing of your house, again, done over 30 years. That's a lot less than a credit card. So that's another benefit of Sunny May, Remodel New York. Okay, another program, Neighborhood Revitalization, where you can get up to $20,000 for necessary, and the key word here is necessary home repairs. It would be something that you would have to bring forth in front of Sunny May. But if it's deemed necessary, for example, usually it's based on safety and code requirements, you may be eligible for $20,000 in addition to if you take the down payment assistance, okay? All right, now we're getting to the new program, Give Us Credit. And this is so new, I know about it, but we're going to call in Darrell for some bigger questions, because I even have a question. I was thinking about it last night, Darrell. I got a question. Okay, so what is Give Us Credit? It's a new Sunny May. It's not a new mortgage. It's our mortgages. We have the Achieving the Dream. We have the low interest rate, but it's a new way of looking at underwriting, because one of the things that Sunny May has focused on is to create opportunities for people that are underserved, that oftentimes have impediments to home ownership to no fault of their own. Things like credit, things like more flexible credit. These are things that some communities, and I know this because I have friends that live in Brentwood and they use SUSUs. And if you go to a bank with a susu, they take one look at you and go, move to the bar. So this is an opportunity for people with different types of, and including my son, who doesn't have a credit card. He pays everything with Venmo. I don't even know what Venmo is. So he would have to have a Sonny Mae mortgage. So these are ways of approving different guidelines to looking at credit and income and asset profiling, and particularly overcoming financial hardships that you may have had in the past. And I know this from family members who have had financial hardship. On my own personal home family have had personal hardship. So, but in order to qualify for Give Us Credit, a borrower must not be able to obtain a regular Sonny Mae loan approval. So you would go to a loan officer and apply for a Sonny Mae loan. But if in fact you did not qualify, you would be stepped up to look at your profile from a Give Us Credit profile. But one thing I wanted to ask, and this is the question I came up with, Darrell. I hope it's okay if I call you out on this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, when I'm talking to, the congregants here, is there anyone that should go right to Give Us Credit as opposed to going first to a loan officer and going through the process? Are there certain people that should jump ahead of the queue and just go right to Give Us Credit, or are they better served going first to a loan officer and getting the whole work up and then saying, okay, you should look at Give Us Credit?
So the great thing is that it's really a simultaneous process, right? So anyone interested in a Sonny Mae loan should go to a loan officer, a housing counselor, and ask for a Sonny Mae loan. What Give Us Credit does is it gives value and extra weight to good financial management that isn't really visible with the way the banking world has traditionally looked at credit. I will speak as someone who grew up in an immigrant community in New York City. There were many folks in my community who paid everything in cash. They did not have credit cards. They did not necessarily have traditional banking, maybe because wherever they came from originally, they weren't trusting or secure with that banking industry. So they are used to paying everything in cash. And so if you do that, it means that your credit history isn't really visible to the banking world, and therefore you'd be considered no credit and you may not be approved. Give Us Credit looks at sound financial management in different ways, and it looks at the way different communities manage their finances in ways that are responsible, because we certainly don't want to set anyone up for failure, but ways that perhaps have not always been recognized. So folks who are interested in a Sonny Mae loan, they should go to a participating Sonny Mae lender or a housing counselor. And if they don't have what is considered traditional credit, they will simultaneously be evaluated for Give Us Credit. They may, they may get questions like, do you have proof that you pay your bills in cash? Do you have money order receipts? So lots of folks that pay everything every month by a money order. So for the home buyer, they don't have to worry about it too much. They just need to know that Sonny Mae will evaluate their entire financial management without sort of putting them at a disadvantage because they handle things slightly differently.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Darrell. Okay, so in other words, here's the next slide. If you pay your bills on time, Darrell, and you can afford the payment and you have the cash to close, then you should be able to get a mortgage approval, right? Is that the essence of Sonny Mae?
Absolutely, particularly for those who are listening in New York City. Rent is not inexpensive in New York City. If you're managing your bills on time and you have the cash to support your family, you can probably qualify for a mortgage, and Give Us Credit will do that.
Great. So let's talk about some yes. Sorry.
I used to think when I purchased my own home, so I know how to go.
That's great. That's right. And that was instrumental in getting this off the ground. Personal experiences that Absolutely. The Sonny Mae colleagues, we really do listen to the community. We listen to each other. And that's why it's so great to work with Sonny Mae people. Okay, so just to give you a little more detail on Give Us Credit, regular income and purchase price limits apply. So there's nothing, again, this is a conventional mortgage. It's just as Darrell said, the underwriting is a little bit different and flexible. It's flexible. I don't want to say different. It's a little more flexible. Also, you are eligible for the same great programs as I mentioned, the down payment assistance, Sunny May Remodel New York, Energy Star, but that has to be in a newer home, where if you have certain Energy Star, you can prove it's Energy Star, you don't have to pay the difference, the 3/8 higher on the down payment assistance. We don't do a lot on that, but because most of the houses are older, but again, sometimes. With Give Us Credit, home buyer education is required. And landlord, of course, landlord counseling is required if you're purchasing a property, which makes sense, between 2 to 4 units. And again, once like Sunny May loans, there's no combined loan, no maximum combined loan to value, which means that, again, we welcome other loans and subsidies that could be layered into your financing. Okay. So the traditional credit, we've already talked about that. This is almost redundant because I want to get to the website. We don't underwrite to a credit score. We don't look at the typical trade line histories on a credit report like, do you have a auto loan, a student loan, a credit card, but that doesn't mean that you don't pay your bills on time, as Darrell had pointed out. So we're looking more at how are you paying your bills on time. Okay. And I'm going to skip this because this, again, is the details of the plan. But again, to show you that even if you show, right, Darrell, if you're paying your rent on time, that will be a plus for you in terms of we just need to see if you're paying your rent on time, that will help you prove to us that you are a good, solid financial manager. Okay. Also, late payments, a little more flexible on the late payments. You can have 1 60-day late payment or 2 30-day late payments, but we do want you to pay your bills on time. That will be a red flag on the play if you consistently are not paying your bills on time. So, we do urge good stewardship of your finances, and as do most financial institutions. That's why sometimes it takes a little bit longer, like we talked about, day one, versus someone 4 years, that person had to get their credit, and that's a credit in order. And that is why we definitely recommend get thee to a home buyer education counselor. Okay. Another thing, post-bankruptcy and foreclosure, there are shorter rates of discharge and dismissal. We look at that as well, and reasoning. And I know this because I have a family member that went through a bankruptcy a couple of years ago, and they just bought a home, although they live in Florida. So we don't talk about them. But that being said, we are much more flexible in terms of bankruptcies and foreclosures. Okay, we're going to talk about enhanced DPAL. I mentioned down payment assistance, which is 3% of the purchase price up to $15,000. With Give Us Credit, the lowest, the minimum is normally $3,000. With Give Us Credit, the minimum amount is $7,500. So that's good too. Same thing, 10-year loan forgiven. Again, you can move. I have to say this again. You can move before 10 years because I once heard someone say you can't move in a Sunny May house. So I'm going to be very emphatic driving it home. You can move, but you would just have to pay that prorated amount. And again, the term recapture means that if you move before the 10 years, we may ask for prorated amount back. Okay, cash on hand. We allow for cash on hand up to $5,000. What cash on hand is things that are necessarily unsourced funds, meaning that you can't source where the funds, they're not funds in a bank account. We do need to know that the funds were not borrowed, that they are your. As we do accept in certain circumstances loans from family members once you've met your minimum contribution requirement. And remember, I talked about that 1% of your own money, or if it's co-op, 3%. And we already talked about non-traditional sharing arrangements. And there are some names that I've not heard of, but maybe you have, but I know about Asusu, I know about emoneypool.com and PayPal. These are non-traditional ways of saving and paying bills, and we accept that. Okay, gift of equity. Oftentimes a family member, you're purchasing a home from a family member, and equity, oftentimes that is in way of a down payment, towards the down payment. We do accept gift of equity from immediate family members, regardless of the time of resident, if you were a resident. But if it's a family member where not an immediate family member, if you have a history, I believe it's 12 months of residency at the subject property. Okay. Reserve requirements, that is essentially what reserve requirements means, are assets that you have to hold on to that you could turn around right away. It's kind of cash on hand that the bank knows that even after closing, you have a little extra money that you can pay your mortgage payment over in the next month or two. But with Sunny May, there are no reserve requirements if you're buying a single family home. There are 2 months reserves if you are buying 2 or 4 family properties, and some other things that you will learn as you go through your home buying education, or your loan officer will better. This is a little dense, so I'm going to skip this. Okay, also accept overtime. And we allow for non-occupant co-borrowers. So as you can see, it's a rather full-bodied approach. We literally throw in the kitchen sink that you can purchase. We really want you, we've tried really, really hard. We've really thought about what are the barriers to home ownership. And as you can see, we have worked very hard to give you your best shot at purchasing that home. Water income too, brand new. This could be a game changer too. If you have someone that has lived in your home for 12 months or more, that also could be used towards your qualifying income. I think this is a real game changer. Don't you agree, Darrell? This was really, really quite something.
Absolutely. So folks who have relatives that have lived with them and contribute to the household finances, their contributions can help that household qualify for a mortgage, even though they are not signing any mortgage documents, and that can be incredibly helpful.
Right. A lot of these things I'm glossing over, but once you, when you go over this with your loan office, you'll see how robust this program is, and they really are game changers, certainly for Sunny May, in terms of making it much more accessible and approachable for homeowners. Even accessory units, and it has to be, again, legal. I used to be in local government. It has to be a legal accessory unit. And I will qualify that because I've been there where it's, and for your own your own safety, you want it to be a legal accessory unit. It really, when you say, oh, the government, they don't care, they just want the money, it's not true. It has to meet code requirements. You want to be safe. So that's why we insist that if it's a legal accessory unit, that is permitted too, and you can receive money, the income from that as well, percentage of the income. Okay, and seller's concession, which is often used towards, this is when a seller is being generous and magnanimous, they want to move that house, and that's often used towards closing costs. That's not really a big change, right? It's more about the down payment is from previous, correct? It's really more about if you don't have down payment. This wasn't as big a game changer, but it's still important, and it's good to accept the seller's concessions. Okay.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah, thank you. Every little bit does help. Okay, so if you have a pen handy, but I could put this in the chat later. If you want to know more about Give Us Credit by someone who's smarter than me, these are councils that are set up just specifically for Give Us Credit at guc@nyshcr.org, or there's a 1-800 number. This is also on the website. I don't want to spend too much time because how am I doing on time? Not doing bad. Okay, because I do want to take you to the website. Okay, home buying counselors. Again, this is also on a website, and I want to point out that Darrell had pointed out that home headquarters. Can you talk a little bit about home headquarters, Darrell? Would you mind?
Absolutely. So, Give Us Credit is our new initiative, and home headquarters, even though they are not within the 5 boroughs or Long Island, they have become really well-versed in this program and are willing to assist home buyers anywhere in the state. And they can act both as a housing counselor and as a lender. So it's sort of one-stop shop. So
Right.
for those of you who are ready today, they can offer a mortgage. And for those of you who are not ready, they can work with you as a counselor to get you ready. You know, they're one of many options that are available to you. And so don't be deterred by the fact that they're not located within New York City.
Right. And to that end, most of home buying education classes and counseling now are all being done virtually anyway. So it really doesn't matter. But when I learned about Home Headquarters being so well versed and give us credit, certainly they deserve a shout out. So too, we've listed others. Impact Brooklyn, you may have heard of it. Neighbors Helping Neighbors, excellent. Also home buying education and counseling and other names. And when you go to the website, we have a list. So these are all people, and we heartily recommend it, regardless of where you're going with your mortgage. The smarter you are, this is the biggest purchase you are ever going to make. The more information you have, the better questions you can have, the better deal you're going to have. I had a woman who kept calling me. She knew so much that she knew more than her loan officer, and she kept it, and she was right. And we were able to intercede. She knew she was entitled to NRP, and her loan officer, who should have known better, and I will not name names, said, no, you weren't. And I insisted, no, you're right. And we got to the bottom of it, and sure enough, and this was a special program, but she asked the right questions and asked the right questions. She was, by the way, from Orange County. And because she did her homework, she got a better deal. So you must be your own advocate as well. So the more you know, and that will come through home buying counseling as well.
So Michelle, we have a question.
Sure.
We have a question in the chat from YouTube. And this person bought a house cash, and now they need assistance to renovate. And their question is, will Sony May help with that?
That's a great question. Well, it won't be necessarily Sunny May, but we do have programs through HCR like AHC, which I would suggest. First of all, you can always Google it, but if you go to a home buying counselor, I know on Long Island, there are a number that do this work. So I would suggest you call some of your home buying counselors, because it's done not directly through the home buyer, it is done through the nonprofit itself. You also may want to speak to your council member if you're in the city, because oftentimes they know that too. But I know for a fact that certainly where I live in Long Island, the home buyer education people know the program. So I would urge you to get in touch with one of these programs and ask them, because yes, HCR, Homes and Community Renewal, does help with those programs. And also, there are local municipalities that have it as well. I believe the city may have one. I know Long Island, it's all over Long Island and upstate New York, municipalities themselves. So it's done, the money is set through the nonprofit home agencies as well as municipalities. So I urge you to get in touch with a home buyer education company, and they're here on the website. Now, okay, we work with a number of financial institutions across New York. Just because you go to a loan officer doesn't mean they're well-versed or they even know about Sunny May, or may deter you from Sunny May. So you really want to look at our list first, and I put it in the chat, sunnymay.ny.gov. And do we have a minute, Darrell? I think we do. Can I take people to the website?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay, so let me stop my share, and I'm going to do a new share. Okay, you still with me, everybody? Okay, so let's try it again. Excuse me?
It is 4:20, so you have
okay, so we got 10 minutes, and I hope we're getting to the questions. Okay, so this is the Sunny May website, and it is sunnymay.ny.gov. And you'll see this very attractive family. Unfortunately, this is blocking me. Okay. This attractive family who just bought what looks like it must be a stock photo. You'll forgive me. It looks like a palatial mansion, but you never know. Maybe they did get it through Sunny May, but I hope so. Some of the houses upstate, it's possible. I don't think in Brooklyn or Long Island, but that is a pretty big house. But anyway, you'll slide down, and we have a response to COVID. And really what it is about COVID is definitely have to pre-qualify before most real estate brokers will take you around. But this is a very robust website. And a lot of it you already know, because number one, look at the programs. Did we discuss achieving the dream and the low interest rate? You already know about it. And the add-on features, down payment assistance. And let's look at learn more. Here are some of the programs that we just talked about. Okay, just so you know, down payment assistance, we talked about it. I can give you a quiz, you'll know the answers. And we have down payment plus pilot, which is now on hiatus, right? The DPAL plus pilot is on hiatus, but it may be coming back soon. Remodel New York, we talked about, and veterans, homes for vets. And essentially, if there are any veterans or spouses of veterans, they would be able to get the down payment assistance without that 3/8 of a point, 3/8 of a percentage higher on their interest rate. So that's the difference for that program. And it even has Give Us Credits in the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. And if you scroll down to the bottom, because I want to do that, it always takes you back to the home page, because what I want to do is show you how to find a loan officer. If you're ready, again, if you're ready, so how do you get pre-qualified? And what you would do is you go to how to qualify and how to apply, and it gives you a whole host of information on what you need when you go to your loan officer or when you go to your home buying counselor. Recent pay stub, banking details, debt information, rental history, have your landlord's names and your addresses. And as Darrell had mentioned, if you've been paying by, check or money order, have that available. Tax returns, you definitely need 3 years of your federal tax returns. I believe it's 2 years, but here it says 3. Is it 3 or 2? I thought it was 2 years of your federal income tax returns.
So,
2, right?
It can be 2, depending on the time of year. So at this point in time, not everybody has filed for 2021.
Got it. That's right. Makes sense. Right. Okay. So now we're going to go down to who are the participating lenders. And the first place I tell people to go is go to our Hall of Fame list, because those are the ones, those are the loan officers that do the most Sunny Mae mortgages. And you'll see a list. It's the last year would be 2020. And this is our Hall of Fame. And you'll look and you'll see what companies they are. And it even has the number of Sunny Mae loans that they closed. And why that's good is you'll see how many they do. They don't only do Sunny Mae, they do other mortgages as well. So you'll get a good picture on how to compare it to other mortgages that they have, because each bank and each financial institution have their own mortgages. And I dare say Sunny Mae keeps the market competitive, because I happen to know, even in the short time that I have been with Sunny Mae, which is less than 5 years, I have seen banks competing with us on first-time home buyer mortgages because we keep them honest. So Sunny Mae has a dual role here, not just providing the mortgages, the two great programs, the two great mortgage programs, but making sure that the banks are keeping first-time home buyer, particularly low and moderate income, in mind. And I really see a change in the market because of Sunny Mae's place in that market. So if you scroll down, you will see a whole host of people that you can call, and you know that they do Sunny Mae mortgages. Another thing you do is you look at the region, and depending on where you're going to buy, and I know Pastor Francis wants to make sure you stay in Brooklyn, so we're going to go to Brooklyn. And we're going to look at New York City, and here is the list of loan officers, and they're banded by how many they've done. We have platinum, silver, bronze, and that's based on how many loans they've done. And you want someone, and you want to talk to them when you call them. Are they familiar with all the programs? For example, if you want a renovation purchase mortgage, make sure that they can do those programs. Because I once sensed someone had gone to a loan officer and she wanted NRP, Neighborhood Revitalization and Remodel. And even though he was a Sunny Mae loan officer, he was not comfortable doing those renovation mortgages. So she ended up going to someone else. So you do want to ask, even on that level, you you want to ask them, are you familiar with these programs? So again, you want to ask the right questions, even out of the gate. Okay. And I believe I'm going to do one more because again, the time is getting, I want to just show you again how to find, okay, counseling, home ownership counseling, learn more. Okay, so we gave you some names and I'm happy to share them with you again, but you're going to go down and you're going to look for, yep, here you go. So visit the website to find a home buying counselor near you, and you go to Home Smart New York. And are you buying a home? Find an advisor. Click find an advisor. Let's see, and you're going to put in what type. And again, that gentleman, where is that gentleman who asked about fixing up the house? So here we have energy efficiency, weatherization. There's all different types of counseling. I had a woman that came to one of my classes and she was talking about, she was going into, she just happened to listen. She was going into foreclosure. And I told her immediately, get thee to a housing counselor. She called me weeks after to thank me. So if you know anyone that is in trouble, I said, don't wait, get involved. So here, get to a home buying counselor. So you'll see rehab, repair. Let's do that, if you don't mind. Let's look and see what they got. Rehab, repair. And I'm going to go to Kings County, which is Brooklyn. Let's see what they got. But okay, and you scroll down and Brooklyn Neighborhood Services, CDC Long Island. I know CDC Long Island, and I'm not sure if they go into Brooklyn, but I know they're to impact Brooklyn. So these are the people, sir or ma'am, or whoever asked that question. I would start with them, okay? And let's go look and see who we're going to look for. Homebuyer Workshop, okay? And that's same thing. We're going to look BNS, Chaya, which is out of Queens, but they also happen to do Brooklyn and South Brooklyn and Grove Brooklyn. So you can see there's a whole host of people and that do this. Okay. So I think I'm going to stop my share. And hi, everybody, I'm back. Whew, that was good. You just got like a graduate level course in Sunny May. So you have learned a lot. And I urge you, if you have any questions, to get back in touch with me. There's also a 1-800 number. I usually answer my emails in 24 to 48 hours, but I'm going to put in, and it's also a human being that answers the phone on this one. I'm not going to give his name because he gets mad when I do, because people call him all the time. But it is 382. 4663. So that's 382-4663. That is our hotline. You get a human being who will speak to you and answer also questions. But as I mentioned, you can always contact me. Don't call Darrell. She is far too busy. Okay. I'll bother Darrell when you have a question. For sure, I'm going to bother Darrell, but don't you call Darrell. Call me. Okay. Because she's
not a bother.
So are there any other questions?
So we don't have any questions in the chat. I do want to just add one little thing. This has been a great afternoon, and thank you so much for the church for having us here. We've been talking about home buyers and new home buyers. I also want to bring to folks' attention that New York State has a homeowner assistance fund, which is helping those who already own a home and are impacted by COVID. So as you may or may not know, New York State has over $500 million available in aid for those who already own a home but were impacted by COVID. You can go to hcr.ny.gov to learn more about that program and how you can apply. I urge folks to apply as soon as possible. It's super easy. You can do it on your cell phone. You can do it on a website. You can do it by phone. We've been taking applications since January, and unfortunately, there's been so much need. The chances are that we will be closing new applications within the next few weeks. So I urge you, if those of you on the call know someone who may have been impacted by COVID and is experiencing challenges with their mortgage or just their home ownership, even those who don't have a mortgage, perhaps those that are elderly, and don't have a mortgage but are behind on their taxes, there is assistance available, and I ask for you to share with them the methods that they can go to hcr.ny.gov to learn more about how New York State can assist them.
Great, thank you. That's why I keep you around, Darrell. That's great. It's very important. Thank you. So that's it. If there are no other questions, you know where to find us. And we're just so grateful to Pastor Francis for bringing us in and for all of you for your interest. And we wish you well on your way. You are on your way. Like I said, the fact that you are here, you are making those steps. And that's the beginning. You know, what do they say? 90% is just showing up. And that is what leads to success. And we wish you all the best and keep us posted on how your journey, because it's a journey. And like life is a journey, this is a journey of homeownership. It's the largest investment, but it is a means to personal wealth. I know my wealth, what I'm going to give my children is my home. I don't have a big bank account. It's my house. That's what I have for them. So this is how you build that personal wealth. There is responsibility with a home ownership. I lived for many, many years in a house, and when something went down, I called the super. And now when something goes down, hi, I'm responsible. So there are responsibilities involved, but you have to look at it individually to see if the benefits outweigh. I think they do. I was late in home ownership, but I'm very grateful for being in a home. And I wish I knew about Sunny May when I first bought it, but now I'm going to make sure you know about Sunny May. So with that, thank you so much. And Pastor, we turn it back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was very impactful. That was powerful. That was energetic. That was passionate. And we are just delighted for your company today and for sharing such information, Dr. Michelle and Dr. Forde. We are grateful for, for your presence today. I'm not sure if there's anyone, my technicians should be watching YouTube to indicate to me if there are questions. I don't see any in the chat here. I think you were so clear that you covered most of or all of the areas that persons would want to have questions in. I don't see any. Let me see.
That's what we like. But you will have questions. Some of your, congruents will have questions down the line. Usually a couple of days later, they'll say, oh, I saw you, I have a question. That's what we're here for. You will start thinking about it. You will visit the website and you will have questions. And that's great. We're here for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We try to hold your hand.
Okay. So I'm going to ask technical team to extract the information that was shared in the chat in terms of the number and the email address so that we can have those. I will send those to the members and our guests so that they may have those to work with. So once again, I want to thank you both for your time today. I know it's a busy, busy day. As Pastor Charles, do you want to say something?
Oh, no, I was just indicating that we're working on that, getting all the information together.
Awesome. So we want to thank you. I know it was perhaps your time off that you could spend with your family. And we appreciate your time here already. And we bless God for you. We pray and pronounce peace and prosperity and favor over your lives as well, as you have deposited so much in our church today, in our families today. And I am confident that there are a number of persons now who will be calling you because they see a way to climb the hill or the mountain of house ownership. And so we bless God for that. Thank you so much for being with us. May God continue to bless you. And feel free anytime to visit us. In fact, if you want to come in person on the 16th of April, we will be having what we call a community guest day. We'll be honoring persons from the community. In fact, my community and Sabbath school people, you want to use these two ladies as persons who we can honor as well, because they've blessed us so much today.
I don't know about being honored. I appreciate it, but if I'm available, I might just do that, but I don't need honors. It's honored that you ask us, really. That's the honor. That's the honor.
That's so powerful. Humility running through your vein. We love that. But
and love and peace.
Amen. All right, so we extend an invitation to you as well. I'll send a formal one as well to both of you, and you could join us in person on that day. It will be a blessing as well. All right, thank you so much again, and